Hey guys, welcome in week 8 of the college football season, and we've got a good one here. ACC battle between Syracuse and Clemson. This is going to be 12 o'clock noon Eastern time on Saturday. And Kevin Dolan, coming to you here. The 'Cuse, undefeated. What else could you possibly ask from them? Are they going to remain undefeated after this game?
Not sure about undefeated, but I definitely like them. Plus the points here. I came on, we came on last week's breakdown video covering Clemson FSU. I said in that one I gave out Florida State plus 4.5, I believe, as my play on that one. I talked about the numbers last week for both teams. The fact the Seminoles had impressed me up to that point of the season, but, they've found a way to come up short yet again in that one last week, especially early. Dominated Clemson. Like, if you go behind the scenes, look at the numbers, dominated Clemson for almost 100 additional yards in that game. They had 10 more first downs than the Tigers in that one as well. Clemson got out rushed in the ground. They got out yarded through the air, but they still found a way to win. Obviously, that's the most important aspect of a game, and cover as well. The Tigers now cover in 4 of the last 7 games overall on the season as a whole. But the main point is, if I wasn't high on Clemson last week prior to that FSU game, that performance did little to change my mind ahead of this one, especially facing a Syracuse team this weekend who are on fire this season. I made this game 8 points personally to Clemson. So at 13.5, there's a fairly big discrepancy there between where my power rankings have this game and where the books have the line, currently at here. But, make no mistake, Syracuse are no joke this season, at least by the numbers. The Orange are looking for their second straight top 20 scalp this weekend when they face Clemson. Polished one off last week against NC State. They have one of the best red zone scoring offenses in the entire country. They have a quarterback in Garrett Schrader who ranks top 30 in both interception rate and total QBR rating this season. And they have a defense that leads the ACC this year in overall opponent scoring as well, along with allowing just 268.8 yards per game on average to opponents, which is the 8th best mark in the country right now as well. So, there's no question what Clemson do well. They're clinical inside the red zone. Their run defense this season has been absolutely superb as well. But at this number, at this line, that this team is simply overvalued right now, in my opinion. No question in my mind. And at almost 2 touchdowns, I'm quite happy to come in on the dog on this one on Saturday down in South Carolina and take Syracuse.
Yeah, and listen, it makes total sense, Steve. It's tough to lay it with this. Isn't the Clemson of old, but boy, it ain't the Syracuse of old either. So what do you what gives in this game, you think?
Well, I think Clemson, first of all, throws the ball better than expected this. Last year when they really struggled out of the gate, it was the defense playing well again. They held Georgia to a very season low in that opener, which in hindsight looked pretty good. But DJ Uiagalelei, by the way, I said it correctly. I was joking last week when I said ukulele. I just wanted everyone out there to know that I do know how to say it correctly. And I'm saying it correctly because he's having a decent season now, guys. 17-2 interception touchdown, 17-2 touchdown interception ratio. Not exactly Trevor Lawrence yet, but he's a capable quarterback. And I bring that up because last week that was the difference in this game. Clemson out through Florida State almost 9 yards per pass to 6. But what's concerning if you're looking at Clemson is that defense. Once again, they gave up some points, unlike Clemson defenses of the past, and they really struggled to stop the run. Florida State had 206 rushing yards in the game. They had 6.1 yards per rush in a losing effort. So kind of like Kevin, I'm not exactly sold on this Clemson team this year. And I mentioned earlier we did the Penn State video. I mentioned how Michigan last week got jumped by Clemson. They went to 4th. Michigan fell to 5th. Well, now Michigan is 4th again in the AP poll. So now Clemson is that team that's fallen to 5th. We saw Michigan come out with a really good effort last week in that spot. Obviously, they'll be focused here again as an undefeated team. The question for me is, what does Syracuse do on the road? It's their first true road test of the season. They've had only 1 road game so far this year, and that was back on the second week of the season when they went up to Connecticut. A very short trip to Connecticut, basically across the state line. Yes, they won 48-14, but they were a 24-point road favorite. It's not like Connecticut is exactly a dangerous opponent. So they have not had a true road game in over a month, have not had a true road test all season. So from a scheduling setup, does not look like a great spot for Syracuse. Also, they're coming off a top 20 home win against NC State. Obviously, they've been getting it done with defense. And we do have a situation where we're getting almost a 2-touchdown dog that gives up less than 2 touchdowns on the season. They give up just 13 points a game, 4.6 yards per play. So this late in the season, these are those games you don't see too often where a team in Syracuse is getting 13.5 and they allowed just 13.2 all season long. So obviously a good defensive dog here. I just don't know if they're quite ready to step up in class against one of the best teams in the nation on the road.
Going to be a good one. ACC battle, guys. Get ready. Syracuse. You know, there's a lot of Syracuse fans and alumni ready to go up against Clemson. And also ready to go will be Kevin Dolan and Steve Merril over at wagertalk.com. Those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages are the way to go, guys. Never miss a play over at wagertalk.com.